Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we got another mod for the Corvette, and basically what we're going to be installing is a manual fan controller high-low speed switch for the Corvette. And this kit is Caspers part number 102159, and this is a plug-and-play manual fan controller. Now what does that mean? Basically, this is an adapter with a really long cord, and you've got your own switch. And as you guys can see, there's three settings on it. There's one, which would be low, the neutral, the center point, which is like OEM stock, and the double line is for high. So basically what this is for is when you're sitting in the pits and you want to turn your fan on. Well, you can turn on low, you know, and have the car not on, but just like in accessory mode. You have it in the neutral spot. That's the factory setting. So your factory PCM fan controller speeds will work just fine. And then you get high, and this will manually turn on the fan on high. So basically this is to allow your car to cool down in the pits without having it running and, you know, heat soaking the car, or in my case, heat soaking the blower. Because, you know, like we've done all these mods to help reduce IATs, and this is kind of just another one to help cool down the car itself, and hopefully that would in turn help reduce IATs as well. And how does this install? Guys, it's fairly simple. You unplug the factory fan controller, you stick this end into the fan assembly, actually it'll be this end, stick this end into the fan assembly control box, stick the factory GM wire harness into this one. So literally it's just the jumper harness, and then this harness runs all the way into the interior and plugs into your little control box. This is just a circuit board that's been weather sealed. Even though it's going to be inside the car, they didn't really need to weather seal it that much, but you know, it's to be a weather sealed system, and then your switch plugs into the back of the weather sealed box. So as Casper says, there's no cutting, no drilling. You should be able to run this into the car, like through the fender, underneath the door seal, I think toward the top, and then feed it back behind the dashboard and into the center console, where we already have that Nitrous Express, I believe it's Nitrous Express control panel. I've got a third button that's just a dead switch. It's not plugged in anything. And I saw this setup online, and I was like, I've got that same size button, and this would be perfect for that third switch. So I'll have my line lock, my two-step, and my fan controller all in that same little control panel. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is length of wire. I mean, it looks like I have a lot now, but this has to run from the bottom of the front of the car into the, you know, through the engine bay, into the interior, down through the dashboard and up into the center console. So I'm not 100% sure this will fit, you know, that length. So I may need to lengthen some wires, but if you guys look, I'll show you. There's only 3 wires. If I have to lengthen it, no big ordeal. And if you guys actually look at the assembly, these are actually fairly thin wires, so I'm pretty sure I can find some of that wire and just heat shrink tube and solder if we have to. I'm not predicting that we will, but I think Caspers is kind of leaving this up to you on the install, on like where you want to put it. I happen to have that control panel. Alright guys, as you can see, I already have half of the fan plug harness undone. And then all you gotta do is grab your one end of your adapter from Caspers, plug this jumper in there. Alright, we're plugged in there. Now, getting to the other half of this plug might be a little interesting. Alright guys, first thing you'll notice, I put the car back up on the lift. I simply found no way to get the plug plugged in on the bottom without being under the car. You probably can't see it. It's way down in there, but right here on top is the top of the plug. The bottom of the plug, there's enough play in that harness to where I was able to pull it out, pull the Caspers harness, jumper harness in, plug that in, and then I kind of shoved it back up toward the top of the car. And for the top of the plug, there's simply not enough length of wire or play in the harness side of it, you know, the chassis side of it, for that to like to go down into the where the radiator fan assembly is. So you need to pull that back up and plug it in from top. So that's half the install. I mean, the other half is just getting this into the car and into my switch. All right, guys, now that we have the fan controller plugged in, this should work. So I'm gonna press 1 on the button. You guys can now hear the fan running. That's on 1, like I'm trying to show here in the button. Put it back to the center button, so that's gonna be neutral or off. Let that stop all the way. All right, so that's off. Let's put it in 2 for high. All right, guys, you can hear the fan running on high. Let's put it back in neutral. Back in neutral. So with the car being off, the fan will not run when it's in that central button. But if you press 1 or 2, yes, it'll run. So that's something you have to worry about, because the instructions even say that it can kill the battery. So, you know, it's just something to worry about. Is like if you hear the fan running when the car's off, make sure you go back in and make sure you toggle the switch so it's in that middle switch. All right, guys, nothing too complex here. You can see the wire coming up from the fan controller, turns into the gray wire here. Simply ran this wire up until the coolant tank. I took this screw out. I also took this screw out, lifted both of these assemblies up, ran the wire up. You can see it up and under, up and over the latch, and then into the fender structure. So it's underneath this piece of plastic, and this is like a rubber trim. Fed it up underneath there. I took this screw out so that I could run, you actually see the wire right there, run the wire underneath it and then kind of behind it. Then it's at this point right here, the weather stripping actually comes apart. So you see, there's the weather stripping. So I ran it back behind there. And for the interior, what you need to do, you need to take off this panel first. Just pull up from the top here, pull it back. There's a clip here, pull, but there's actually also a retaining clip into the door jamb trim piece. So be careful, don't break this one. So pull from top, pull that out, pull the bottom, pull this whole piece out. And then once you get that piece out, you grab the entire A-pillar and pull back. Now there's a clip here, and there's Velcro up here. You don't really need to worry about the Velcro. All you gotta do is pull back toward you, and this whole section pops out. And what that allows you to do is get the wire into the car. And actually, you guys can see it right there. Just gotta hide that a little better. But so the wire is coming through underneath the weather molding, weather strip, underneath this A-pillar plastic piece, and then I fed it back behind the dash. And as of this point right now, it's fed through the bottom, through the dash, and into the underneath the glove box. Alright guys, we've gotten the nitrous express switch out of the car, and as you guys can see, I swapped the far right button for the Caspers electronics button. So down will be low, middle neutral is off, and up is high. Now the only reason that I did low on the bottom and high up top is because of, actually, if you guys can see, there's a ridge on the middle of the switch, and I couldn't push that in going on the other side because this side does not have that same ridge cast into the plastic shroud for the switch. So the only reason it's kind of upside down, but that's all right. I don't think this lights up. No, that looks printed. So this is not illuminated, which is fine. It's not a big deal. So just so the two-step is on the far left, line locks in the middle, and my cooling fan switch will be on the right. All right, guys, quick update. I have the center console pushed back in, and I have the switch all wired up. So it's put on low. You guys can hear that, it's the fan. Turn it off. It's back to neutral. It's turned back off, it's put back on high. Alright guys, there you go. I put it back to neutral. So all three modes of the switch are working. So what I've done so far is just take that control box, that little weatherproof box, and just stuck it down behind the carpet. I don't really know of a better place to put it, but I mean, it's following the rest of the wiring for the rest of the switches. So, you know, I've got miscellaneous ground wires and power going through the carpet. So, and when you put the carpet back, there's not really a bulge or anything. Maybe a little bit, but actually that's the floor, that's not. What I did was I grabbed the wire, make sure it came out down here, kind of where the rest of the wires were, set it along the bottom, and then just kind of made sure it wasn't touching any of the grounds, other common power. So you just don't want wires touching wires that are live, kind of like this ground spot right here. But with me tucking it up behind that panel, I can now push the carpet closed. You can see it a little bit, but that's all right. Then put the floor mat back, and all you can see is that little wire. We might be able to hide that a little bit more, maybe. But that's gonna be fine. It's behind three layers. You got carpet, you got the plastic panel, and you got the floor mat. So guys, that's it. And then right here you can see all the wires coming through here. It's kind of the one spot in the chassis that you can put all of the wires going down to the power and grounds. And actually I see a video wire, so that's actually going down to the backup light too for the reverse camera. So that's kind of where I have all the smart wiring and all that stuff for the backup camera. Fed through there, going down past the carpet. And really the only trim piece we got to put in is this piece right here, and we're done. The two-step works. Turn the two-step on, press the clutch pedal to activate it, let the clutch go and it deactivates, turn that off. As for the line lock, press the button on, press the brake pedal in, the brake pedal is now being held, turn the button off, brake pedal lets go. And for the fans, press the fans. They just kicked on. I don't know if you'll be able to hear that, but let me turn the car off. So there's the fans on. It's on high. Back to stock. Now it's on low. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a big like, and also if you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you want to know when I upload new content, hit that bell notification button. And if you want to help the channel out, click the links below. Thanks guys, have a great one.